In the late 11th century, Europe was restless. Powerful kingdoms were emerging, the church was gaining influence, and the world beyond Christendom's borders was a mystery and a threat. This was the stage on which one of the most dramatic and enduring movements in history was born, the Crusades. Our story begins with a bold call from Pope Urban II in November 1095. Speaking at the Council of Clermont in France, he issued a rallying cry that would change history forever. He called for a holy war to reclaim Jerusalem and the Holy Land from Muslim control. But this crusade was about much more than territory. The Pope promised spiritual rewards, the remission of sins and eternal salvation to those who took up the cross and fought. This was no ordinary war. It was a sacred pilgrimage, a mission from God. Why did this call ignite such a fire across medieval Europe? The answer is a tangle of politics, religion, and human ambition. The Byzantine Empire, Christian but under threat from the Seljuk Turks, appealed to the West for help. At the same time, European knights and nobles, often locked in violent feuds, saw the Crusades as a chance for glory, land, and fortune. And for the common folk, the Crusades offered hope and a sense of purpose in a harsh and uncertain world. The taking of the cross became a defining moment. Knights and peasants alike sewed red crosses onto their clothes as symbols of their vow to undertake this holy mission. But the movement wasn't just limited to soldiers. It became a sweeping social phenomenon, attracting thousands from all walks of life. Before the noble armies formally organized, a wave of untrained but fervent believers set out in what is now known as the People's Crusade. Led by Peter the Hermit, this group was marked by passion rather than strategy. Unfortunately, their enthusiasm was met with tragedy when they were decimated by the Seljuks soon after arriving in Anatolia. The official First Crusade, however, was different. Led by seasoned nobles like Godfrey of Bouillon, Bohemond of Taranto, and Raymond of Saint-Gilles, these armies crossed Byzantine territory with mixed feelings from Emperor Alexios I, who feared losing control of reconquered lands. The Crusaders pushed forward, beginning with the Siege of Nicaea in 1097, a key victory that showcased their resolve and military prowess. The journey was punishing, harsh terrain, a long march, and battles that tested their faith and strength. The Crusaders faced many fierce engagements, with the Siege of Antioch standing out as a grueling 9-month ordeal where hunger, disease, and betrayal lurked in equal measure. Yet, despite overwhelming odds, they emerged victorious, boosting morale dramatically. Finally, after nearly 4 years of warfare and treacherous marches, the Crusaders reached Jerusalem. In 1099, what followed was a brutal, bloody siege, but success. The city was captured in July, and the Crusaders established the Kingdom of Jerusalem alongside other Crusader states, a foothold in the Holy Land that lasted decades. But the crusading movement spread beyond this initial triumph. It heralded a new era, where religious warfare shaped politics in Europe and beyond. Crusades to Christianize the pagan Baltic regions, campaigns in Iberia against Muslim states, and even crusades within Europe against heretics or political enemies followed. The Crusades reshaped medieval society in unexpected ways. Trade and cultural exchanges blossomed between East and West, but so did conflict and rivalry deepened by centuries-old religious divisions. They remain a complex legacy of heroism and horror, faith and ferocity. So, the Crusaders were not born just from a single call, but from centuries of tension, ambition, and a world yearning for meaning. They captured hearts and minds, fought with fervor and conviction, and left a mark on history that still echoes in our times.